Hey, internet friends, cousins, and scoundrels. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Pull up a chair, honey, and let's have a chat. And since the algorithm really likes it when you interact with the content, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe since you're here. Now I ain't gonna hold you. Let's get right into this. I don't know why in the year of our Lord 2024, folks still out here using sexual orientation as a weapon. Like, really? That's what we doing? First off, it's lazy. And it's the go-to for people who have absolutely no creativity, no wit, and no mental agility to clap back with anything better. Child, honestly, it's embarrassing, okay? It's like, when we were kids on the playground, right? And two people would be joning and roasting and, going back and forth. And then shit is funny, right? Shit is funny until one person runs out of shit to say and they just holler out, "Your mama." Yeah, well, this is the same energy, except now you're grown and you're hollering out, "You're gay." All right, listen, it's weak, it's dry, and it's boring. Okay. Can we just all agree that we're not taking sexual orientation as an insult into 2025? Okay. Because it's lame and it's tired. All right. Anyway, I know by now, if not every one of you, most of you have seen the Carlos King interview, right? With Tisha Scott. Now, Tisha said a mouthful in that interview. And let me begin by saying that out of everything Tisha said, the most important thing she did was validate the revenge P plot, right? Not only that, she was gracious enough to implicate herself, her husband Marceau, and Scott 2.0, which is Kimmy and Maurice, as having been aware of this diabolical plan a year in advance and chose to keep it quiet. I thank you for that. She went on to say that all the boys have seen the tape of Mel, and she added that all of them had seen Coleslaw too, right? She went on to add details to say that Coleslaw was in a closet dancing and shaking the surgical enhancements that Martell bought her, right? Now, instead of Carlos King pressing Tisha on more vital details about the revenge P plot, he allowed her to skate on through to attack Martell's sexuality as her clapback for what was aired on Saturday's LAMH episode. Basically, Tisha was given the opportunity to address being a ran through bust down, right? And she went on to try to minimize the situation from a group of guys down to one guy who she had sex with on prom night, or I don't know, whatever the fuck she said. Anyway, allegedly and according to the streets, Tisha was a bust down and a blockhead. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so now, so far, both of these points have been on the show, right? The revenge P plot was touched on and then minimized, and Tisha being a bust down was also shown on the show, right? They always want us to keep it to the show, right? Especially Tisha. She's always whining about how we don't keep it to the show, okay? So here we are. We're here on the show, right? I'm asking the question, why wasn't she pressed to say more about what she knew or knows about the revenge P plot, right? Especially since she set her stankin' BBL up on that fucking screen and validated it, right? I'm asking, why was she allowed to skate right on past it? Well, I believe that was done because it was already pre-rehearsed that she would use her time to focus on Martell. And before we go any further, fuck Martell, okay? Fuck him for all fuck's sake. Fuck him and the fucking horse he rode in on, okay? This ain't me taking up for him. Fuck him, all right? But I think I see a pattern with these dirty, funky, ran-through ass hoes, all right? Now, when the revenge P plot was first introduced into the storyline of the show, Carlos knew that these streets would be talking about it, which is why, allegedly and in my opinion, the cast was told to downplay it and minimize it to being nothing more than a text message, right? Y'all following me? Because Carlos didn't want to highlight the seriousness of this crime on the show. He needed to introduce a segue, which is how the mellometers became the storyline. But that wasn't enough to move over the hump of such a serious criminal act. You have to have something more salacious to get over that type of a hump, right? And what did Dusty do? Do y'all remember?
If I wanted to sleep with Martell or her, I could have.
That's right. She insinuated that Mel was a lesbian. That shit came clean out of left field. Like, where the fuck did that even come from? Huh? This shit looks like the same play to me, y'all. They needed a segue away from that revenge pee, and then all of a sudden, Mel was a lesbian. Think about it. Look how casually, how matter-of-factly Dusty says that she could have slept with Mel too. The way she says it implies that it's a known fact that Mel is attracted to women, right?
Now, let me tell y'all what's going on, and y'all tell me this. First of all, y'all been around me all this time. Y'all ever known me to be fucking women?
To beat them?
To fuck women.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying, because, you know, listen, I don't have a problem with people and however they choose to live. I'm not that person. I'm not that person. I got a whole brother that's gay that I love to death. What's up, Mo? Never have rolled that way.
It was fucked up that Mel had to get up on her platform to denounce what this bitch had said in the first place, right? But it really doesn't matter what lies were told, okay? They just needed to get over the revenge pee hump, right? On the show. Carlos needed to get this out of the way, right? Listen, of all things you can say, you can never say it didn't air, right? You won't be able to say he didn't air it, right? So here we are again, right? And the fans noticed that the revenge pee plot was mentioned and then it vanished, right? People were talking about that during the break from filming, that the revenge pee plot just sort of kind of disappeared, right? And Carlos is in these YouTube streets. He's on the blogs. He's in the Facebook groups. He's everywhere. He is. And he saw what people were saying. He knows he dropped the revenge pee storyline and he knows he needs to bring it back. So all of a sudden, Marceau does an interview with Dustin where he denounces the revenge pee plot, right? Now, that interview didn't get that much traction, so it's not a coincidence to me that same interview is used as a flashback for the park scene when Marceau tells Martell that he doesn't respect him for the revenge pee plot, right? Now, what was unexpected was Martell's reaction to Tisha and Marceau egging him on to show what he had, right? And that's when Martell sprayed them, right? Now, Tisha says in her interview with Carlos that Marceau said on tape at that pavilion that Martell was gay, and he supposedly named all of the men that Martell had, allegedly slept with in Huntsville, but that, it wasn't shown on the TV. It wasn't shown on the show, right? Really, Tisha? You didn't stop to think why that happened? Really? You didn't stop to think? Why didn't Carlos King want that to be shown? If that happened like you said it did, right? Did it happen like you said it did? Why did Carlos cover Marceau by cutting that footage out of the show? And when you're done answering that question, ask yourself this. If Carlos thought that was a bridge too far, then why didn't he think the same of you? Why did he allow that salacious information about you to be shown? Why weren't you covered? And since that episode aired, you and your wide back mammy have been fighting for your lives on social media behind that fucking firestorm, right? And y'all have been doing it all alone. Why hasn't Marceau gone online to defend you himself? If he said all those things you claim he said at the pavilion, why hasn't he gone live on his own platform and said it again? You and your mammy are the ones out here throwing the gay bomb around, just like Dusty did to Mel, right? You see, the reason why people think you are dumb is because you do dumb shit like this. You sat your slow ass up on Carlos King's platform with your full face showing and said that crazy shit out of your mouth. I haven't heard Marceau say shit. Not in your defense, not against Martell, just you and your mammy. Now, Carlos King didn't cut out what you said, but you claim you're just saying what your husband said that day at the pavilion, and he cut that out. Now make it make sense. He's allowing this interview to stay up with you saying all the things you said, for it to be recorded, for it to be critiqued, for it to be shared, for you to look like a dummy. Okay? Make it make sense. You are being sacrificed, and not by Martell. The call is coming from inside of the house, Tisha. Your husband is sacrificing you. He isn't protecting you. He isn't defending you. He is leaving you out here to look and sound like a fool. If your husband doesn't think you're worthy enough to protect or defend, then why would anyone else? The reason why Martell felt so comfortable talking to you the way he did in the first place is because he knows your husband doesn't hold you in high regard. Your husband didn't pose a threat to Martell because he knew he wasn't going to move a muscle to protect you. His brother either. These men talk among themselves, if you didn't know. But still, you got your goofy ass up on Carlos King's platform to call that man gay. Look, in the bigger scheme of things, I believe that shit is being thrown around as a segue to get over the Revenge P, plot storyline again. I believe the Neighborhood Talk was even paid to spin the gay angle because Carlos just wants to move away from that storyline, right? But at the same time, he does not want to be accused of not following it. Now, that's my opinion, okay? And for those of you who are going to get in my comment section and say that Slaw called, Martell gay first, that shareable side chick also said that she lived in a 2-parent household when she was asked, okay? Only to find out that she thought that meant 2 different parents in 2 separate households. So her comprehension isn't quite reliable, okay? Now, I'm inclined to believe that chick might have had 2 dicks in her mouth at the same time and they were touching, and that was gay to her. But child, I don't know. And anyway, that's not the point here, okay? If Martell is gay or not, who the fuck cares? The bigger issue is that Tisha confirmed that she, Marceau, Kimmy, and Maurice all saw the tape, all knew the plot, all chose to do nothing about this criminal act, and they all sat around doing the Birdman hand rub, waiting for this shit to drop. That's the biggest story here. Again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, bet you know now.